The details are beginning to emerge from the Chinese Foreign Ministry. UK and Canadian citizens, as you say, can go to China visa-free for up to 30 days.
Canada's not doing well. They're doing very poorly. And you can't look at China as the answer.
I'm very pleased to share that President Xi, in our meeting today, has committed to ensuring visa-free access for Canadians traveling to China.
A late-night message from the White House sent shockwaves through one of North America's most critical trade corridors. Not because of troops or tariffs at first glance, but because of a bridge spanning the Detroit River, a $6, $44 billion project connecting Windsor, Ontario, to Detroit, Michigan, and quietly moving billions of dollars in commerce every year. What followed was not a loud standoff filled with dramatic ultimatums, but a collision between political claims and documented agreements, between social media rhetoric and signed contracts, and between economic reality and campaign season pressure, leaving many questioning how a completed international crossing suddenly became leverage in a much larger dispute. The tension centered on the Gordie Howe International Bridge, a massive infrastructure project built to ease congestion and strengthen trade between Canada and the United States. Yet, the controversy that erupted had little to do with engineering and everything to do with ownership, funding, and political leverage. President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that Canada owned both sides of the bridge and suggested the United States would need to be compensated before it opened, framing the project as another example of Canada exploiting America. The post was blunt and confrontational, landing amid already simmering trade tensions, including Ontario's restrictions on American alcohol sales and Prime Minister Mark Carney's recent trade agreement with China that reduced Chinese tariffs on Canadian canola from 85% to 15%, while opening an estimated $7 billion in new export opportunities for Canada. Yet, the facts surrounding the bridge were never hidden in obscure documents or buried in fine print. Canada financed the entire project at a cost of roughly $6 per billion, covering the bridge itself, customs plazas, highway connections, and supporting infrastructure on both sides of the border. Under a 2012 agreement negotiated between the Canadian government and the state of Michigan, Canada agreed to front construction costs, while Michigan secured joint ownership of the completed bridge. Once Canada recovers its investment through toll revenues, Michigan becomes eligible to receive 50% of the net toll proceeds going forward. That structure was negotiated openly, signed by Michigan's Republican governor at the time, Rick Snyder, and processed through formal federal channels in Washington. In 2013, the U.S. Department of State issued the required presidential permit allowing construction to proceed. In 2017, during Trump's first term, he and then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau released a joint statement describing the bridge as a vital economic link between the two nations. In December 2019, Trump signed legislation that included $15 million in U.S. customs funding for the American side of the project. The public record shows review, endorsement, and federal participation under the same administration that would later question the arrangement. That history explains why the February 9, 2026 post drew immediate responses from leaders in Michigan. Former Governor Rick Snyder published an opinion piece in the Detroit News outlining the terms of the agreement and correcting the claim that Canada owned both sides of the bridge. Snyder reminded readers that Michigan secured half ownership of a multi-billion-dollar international crossing without contributing construction funds, a deal designed to protect taxpayers while strengthening long-term trade infrastructure. Taxpayers while strengthening the state's economic position. He argued that blocking or delaying the bridge would primarily hurt Michigan businesses and workers who depend on efficient cross-border trade. Governor Gretchen Whitmer's office also responded, emphasizing that the bridge supports jobs, strengthens the auto industry, and represents rare bipartisan cooperation, financed by Canada and built by union workers from both countries. Senator Alyssa Slotkin warned that canceling or obstructing the project would carry serious consequences for Michigan's supply chains and consumers, potentially driving up costs in a region heavily dependent on manufacturing and agriculture tied to Canadian markets. Even Michigan House Speaker Matt Hall acknowledged that the existing Ambassador Bridge is privately owned by the Moran family and cautioned that retaliation or disruption could produce unintended consequences. To understand why this bridge matters so deeply, it is necessary to examine what it is replacing and complementing. The Ambassador Bridge, built in 1929, has served as the primary commercial crossing between Detroit and Windsor for nearly a century. Acquired by the Moran family in 1979, it effectively became a near monopoly for heavy truck traffic in the region, as the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel does not allow commercial trucks. For decades, nearly every 18-wheeler hauling auto parts, agricultural goods, and manufactured products across this corridor has relied on that single structure, generating more than $60 million annually in toll revenue. When plans for a publicly owned second bridge gained momentum, the Moran family opposed them aggressively, spending roughly $30 million backing a Michigan ballot initiative that would have required statewide voter approval for new international bridge construction. Voters rejected the measure by about 60%. Multiple federal lawsuits claiming exclusive rights to any new Detroit-Windsor crossing were filed and ultimately dismissed, including an appeal the Supreme Court declined to hear. During Trump's first term, advertisements aired urging him to cancel the new bridge. Yet, his administration continued to provide regulatory approvals and funding support. The Gordie Howe International Bridge was designed to address both capacity and resilience. The Detroit-Windsor corridor handles roughly 1/4 of all merchandise trade between Canada and the United States, making it one of the most critical economic arteries on the continent. The North American auto industry depends on parts crossing the border multiple times before a finished vehicle reaches a showroom. Delays at a single crossing can ripple through assembly plants in Michigan and Ontario, increasing costs and reducing productivity. Unlike the Ambassador Bridge, whose Canadian approach funnels trucks through city streets in Windsor before connecting to highways, the Gordie Howe Bridge links directly to Ontario's Highway 401 and Interstate 75, creating a true freeway-to-freeway connection that eliminates urban bottlenecks. A University of Windsor study estimated that the new crossing could reduce commercial transit times by up to 20 minutes per trip, savings that, over a 30-year period, could total approximately $2. $3 billion for trucking companies and the industries they support. Those savings would benefit American manufacturers and agricultural exporters just as